The lives of the rich and famous often seem glamorous, but even the biggest celebrities have money issues. Despite many inspiring stories of celebrities who came from nothing and worked their way out of financial hardship, the opposite also happens. From musicians to athletes to movie stars, sometimes fame and wealth result in a disastrous spending spree. Luckily, some of the celebrities who lost all of their money were able to financially bounce back, but some stars may never be able to quite match the wealth they once had. Read on for the scoop on who lost their money and how much they lost. We're not ashamed of our nosy game. Here are 10 examples of rich celebrities who lost all of their money at one point in their careers. Some of them managed to bounce back while others remained in financial trouble. MC Hammer. MC Hammer was one of the biggest stars in the radio-friendly rap game of the 1990s, and he both made and spent a lot of money. He filed for bankruptcy in 1996 and was more than $13 million in debt, largely due to lavish spending that included buying a horse stable and having 200-plus people on staff. Over a decade, MC Hammer became the quintessential rags-to-riches and back-to-rags Hollywood story. After releasing 2 moderately successful albums, Hammer achieved worldwide fame with his hit single "You Can't Touch This" from his 3rd studio album. At the time, Hammer's net worth was valued at over $33 million by Forbes. This seemingly overnight wealth was soon sucked up by his lavish spending, extravagant mansion, and numerous dependents. By 1996, Hammer's musical success had plummeted and he had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, as he was over $13 million in debt. The California rapper never quite recovered from his fall, despite a few comeback attempts. Mike Tyson. Widely regarded as one of the greatest boxers of the modern era, Iron Mike Tyson exploded onto the scene as a junior boxer in the early 1980s. He earned the WBC heavyweight champion title just 4 months after his 20th birthday, becoming the youngest boxer ever to reach that mark. He won an astonishing 26 out of 28 fights by knockout, an impressive feat in an increasingly safety-conscious boxing culture. According to a comprehensive 2003 report by the New York Times, Tyson earned approximately $400 million during the first 18 years of his boxing career. But all the money in the world couldn't help Tyson. Tyson finally declared personal bankruptcy in 2003. He has devoted his time since to rehabilitating his reputation. Tyson's largest debts included $17.4 million in tax liabilities to U.S. and British authorities, a $9 million divorce settlement with former wife Monica Turner, several million in obligations to a gaggle of lawyers and producers, and more than $300,000 to a limousine company. His largest assets included a Connecticut mansion he sold to fund the divorce settlement and 2 extravagant Las Vegas properties. At the time of his bankruptcy filing, Tyson was pursuing a $100 million lawsuit against boxing promoter Don King, who Tyson claimed bilked him out of millions of dollars in revenue. In 2004, he settled with King for $14 million, trimming but not eliminating his debts. Tyson exited bankruptcy after losing most of his physical assets and setting aside a substantial share of his future earnings to pay his creditors. T-Pain. Since bursting onto the scene in 2005, T-Pain has racked up a slew of hit singles and accumulated a fortune of over $40 million. However, instead of making wise financial investments, he bought a massive house and a $2.1 million Bugatti, which he later sold off for just $800,000. It certainly didn't take too long for that bank account to go low, low, low. By 2019, the Buy You a Drink singer was left with no option but to file for bankruptcy protection. He did win the first season of The Masked Singer the same year, and things seem to be looking up for T-Pain nowadays. Nicolas Cage. Once upon a time, Nicolas Cage had a net worth of $150 million, according to People. Starring roles in hit films like Gone in 60 Seconds and National Treasure reportedly earned him $20 million apiece, allowing him to afford a lavish lifestyle, but maybe not quite as extravagant as the one he was living. For example, in 2006, the actor purchased more than 40 acres of a private island that was listed at $3 million. While that price tag might sound reasonable for a man of Cage's wealth, he took it up a notch by also buying 4 luxury yachts, totaling $20 million, along with the island. That was just the tip of a small portion of his real estate portfolio, as he once owned 15 residences in California, Rhode Island, New York, Las Vegas, New Orleans, the Bahamas, Germany, and England, just to name a few, according to Forbes. In 2009, Cage sued his former business manager for $20 million, accusing him of negligence and fraud and sending him down a path toward financial ruin. That same year, the IRS hit Cage with several years of unpaid tax bills, totaling $13.3 million, according to TMZ. By 2012, TMZ reported the actor had been working hard to pay off his IRS debts, with his then balance totaling just $6 million. His net worth is currently listed at $25 million, so it seems he's made significant progress toward rebuilding rebuilding his fortune. Dennis Rodman, during his 12 seasons in the NBA, Dennis Rodman earned more than $27 million, according to Spotrac. However, his net worth is currently just $500,000, a small fraction of his one-time fortune. Much of the NBA Hall of Famer's financial downfall was caused by Peggy Ann Fulford, a financial advisor he met in the mid-2000s. According to Sports Illustrated, Fulford took control of his bank accounts and removed his debit card access at one point post-retirement, claiming his excessive spending habits proved he couldn't be trusted with his own money. Fulford was arrested after authorities learned she was overseeing 85 bank accounts, pushing one from the other to fund her lavish lifestyle and laundering money through more than 20 shell corporations, including 3 in Rodman's name. In 2018, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison for scamming Rodman and others in order to pay $5.7 million to her victims in restitution. Rodman also filed a separate lawsuit against Fulford in 2019. Michael Jackson. The rise and fall of Michael Jackson have been well documented, though the focus is usually on his legal troubles more than his financial ones. But the king of pop went from one of the most iconic artists of all time, one that earned up to $100 million a year, to one that died deep in the red. How did it happen? Jackson ate away at his fortune with real estate spending, including millions for Neverland Ranch, and funding $65 million worth of art projects. Ongoing legal fees to combat the scandal over his child molestation charges in 2005 also took a toll on his finances, totaling $20 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. Despite his financial mishaps while alive, Michael Jackson's brand remains strong to this day. Through rebuilding his legacy, Michael Jackson's executors have brought his posthumous net worth to $500 million, making his estate the richest one on this list. Michael Jackson was reportedly at least $400 million in debt when he died unexpectedly in 2009. Large amounts of spending required Jackson to take out loans, many of which he never paid back. Jackson's money problems got worse once he was involved in numerous expensive lawsuits and interest on his debt increased. At the time of his death, a forensic accountant estimated that Jackson owed $400 to $500 million. His estate has resolved the financial issues, and Michael has been the top-earning dead celebrity since 2012. While the late Michael Jackson was one of the most successful pop singers of all time, many fans may not realize that he was deeply in debt at the time of his death in 2009. According to some reports, he was in the hole to the tune of more than $400 million and was even in danger of losing his famous Neverland Ranch estate. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has been acting since the 1980s. He's earned as much as $20 million per film and shared in the profits of some of his biggest hits, including the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. His movies have grossed more than $3 billion worldwide. Johnny Depp managed to avoid declaring bankruptcy thanks in large part to the long-running success of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, from which he earned more than $300 million in combined salary and profit sharing. Latter-day hits like Alice in Wonderland didn't hurt either. Unlike many other actors struggling with out-of-control spending and substance use issues, Depp never had a long, unproductive period and had enough residual income to see him through either way. Today, his net worth is back in the 9 figures, though it's still a fraction of what it was at its peak. Depp continued to make headlines off-screen, though. A nasty legal battle between Depp and fellow actor and ex-wife Amber Heard culminated in an even nastier trial tailor-made for tabloids. Financially speaking, Depp came out ahead, with the jury ordering Heard to pay Depp $10 million and Depp to pay Heard $2 million, though it remains to be seen whether the affair will damage his reputation and dent his earning power. Heard declared bankruptcy to blunt the verdict's financial impact. Aaron Carter. In the late 1990s, Aaron Carter became a teen idol before he was even a teenager. The younger brother of Backstreet Boys singer Nick Carter, Aaron started performing as early as 7 years old and had reportedly amassed more than $200 million before the age of 18. According to Carter, all of this money was mismanaged by his parents, and when he crossed into adulthood, he had accumulated back taxes to the tune of $4 million. With no more hit singles and fast-selling albums, Carter declared bankruptcy in 2013, to pay off most of his debt. The former teen heartthrob seems to be on the right path now, as he has fully eliminated his debt and even bought a house in 2019. Toni Braxton. For someone like Toni Braxton, who sold more than 70 million records worldwide, it's hard to imagine how she could go bankrupt twice. Just 2 years after her smash hit Unbreak My Heart, Braxton found herself in dire straits and had to declare bankruptcy. While her music generated millions, Braxton barely got any of it due to specific clauses in her recording contract. She managed to dig herself out of that hole, but ended up filing for bankruptcy again in 2010 after her Vegas residency was canceled due to her health issues. But just like the Phoenix, she was able to rise from her financial ashes and has since produced and starred in the successful reality series Braxton Family Values. Burt Reynolds. Hollywood legend Burt Reynolds was a top box office draw in the late 70s and early 80s, but he gradually lost his bankability as the years progressed. This, coupled with his costly divorcement choices, led to the actor filing for bankruptcy in 1996. He made a career comeback soon after with Boogie Nights in 1997, which earned him a Golden Globe and an Oscar nomination. By 2014, Reynolds was auctioning off personal items and memorabilia, which rekindled news of bankruptcy. Until he died in 2018, Reynolds lived at his Florida estate, which once faced foreclosure, but was then bought by his neighbor, who let him live on the property at a low cost.